Today's lesson is lesson 2.4, Domain and Range Applications. Today we're going to talk about domain and range in applied situation. To determine the domain and range when you have applied context, a series of questions must be made. Is the situation continuous or discrete? Remember, continuous domain and range is used in situation where parts of a variable make sense. Working 5.25 hours in a week is reasonable. Discrete domain and range is generally used for situations where whole numbers are required. 100.83 people will not attend a fundraiser, so integers should be used in this case. In the situation limited, is the situation limited by its real-world constraints? For example, many values will be positive in the real world, or a problem is only interested in outcomes over a specific period. And the last question, if the domain is restricted, do the output values of the range correspond to the domain restrictions? Use a function rule, equation, graph, or table to check the reasonableness of your domain and range. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at example 1. Fatima works as an intern in a construction company, earning $10 per hour. Her office is open 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. Analyze Fatima's potential earnings for the 12 weeks she interns at the company this summer. The first thing we're going to go ahead and do is write a function rule to model the situation. We're going to go ahead and let f of x equal Fatima's earnings, and then we're going to go ahead and figure out how much she would make per hour. Well, since she makes $10 per hour, we're going to go ahead and let hours be the variable x. And the reason we're choosing x is because they've already chose it for us in the function notation. And we're simply going to multiply 10 times x to find how much Fatima would make. Identifying the independent variable. The independent variable is going to be the number of hours worked. Identify the dependent variable. This is going to be her earnings, or the money that she's making. Remember, when we're talking about independent, we are, of course, talking about our x, and when we're talking about dependent, we are, of course, talking about y. Time is going to be independent, x, and money most definitely, or most likely, is going to be dependent, or our y value. Is the situation continuous or discrete? So remember, we need to think about, does a decimal make sense? Does a decimal make sense for x? Can Fatima work a part of an hour? Can she work half an hour? Yes, she can. Now, would she just work half an hour? Of course not. But she could work 1.5 hours, or 2.5 hours, or 5.5 hours. She could work 5 hours and 25 minutes, so 5.25, something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is continuous. Let me go ahead and grab my pen. And I'm going to go ahead and say, because Fatima can work parts of hours. I don't have to be specific. I don't have to be super specific and say, because she can work 1.5 hours. I can go ahead and give an example, but this is enough. Are there any restrictions on the independent variable? Yes, there is. She can't just earn whatever she wants. Her minimum value that she can earn, or the minimum that she can work, is going to be 0 hours, because it has to be positive. She cannot work negative hours. That doesn't make sense. She can't get paid to pay the company. If I were to work negative hours, then I, of course, would owe, but that would intend that I owe you time, but you're not going to pay me. And that's not how that works. Okay. My maximum is going to be 480. Where did I come up with 480? Well, she can work 8 hours. She can work 5 days a week, and she can only work for 12 weeks. That's the amount of her internship. And this is where I came up with the 480. So that's going to be her max. These are going to be her max hours worked. Are there any restrictions on the dependent variable? Yes. Now I'm going to use these numbers that I have here to give me their monetary ones. Well, if she works 0 hours, she's going to earn $0, right? Our pay should always be positive. I can't pay you negative $20. That would mean you owe me $20. That's not how getting paid in a job works. Our max is going to be $4,800, and I got this by taking her max amount of hours that she could work if she worked all 8 hours, 5 days a week for 12 weeks straight. And I multiplied the 10 times the 480, and that's where I got the 4,800. Now, taking the time to do this is going to allow me to do my domain and range. My domain are going to be the hours. So it's going to go from 0 to 480. My range is going to be my money, my earnings, and so it's going to go from 0 to 4,800. Just as a reminder, remember f of x, my function notation, is just a way for me to write y, my y values. All right, let's go ahead and look at example 2. The Dance Team Booster Club ordered 150 rose stems to sell at the Spring Dance Showcase. The Booster Club purchased the roses wholesale for $75 and is selling each rose stem for $5 at the Spring Showcase. Here is my function. I'm going to go ahead and grab my highlighter and highlight that. 5x, how much I'm selling them for, minus the $75 that I paid for them, represents the Booster Club's potential profit. So here's my potential profit. Analyze the Booster Club's potential profit for their flower sale. Let's go ahead and identify the independent variable. Well, this would be, there we go, the number of roses that I sold. Okay, this is going to be my X. Identify my dependent. Well, this would be my profit, which of course is a type of money. So this is going to be my Y value. What is the minimum value of the domain? Well, it would be 0. Explain how I got this. The number of roses sold should be positive. I can't sell negative roses. How would I sell you -5 roses? The zero's the lowest that I could sell. What is the minimum value of the range? Ooh. Well, if I sold 0 roses, 5 times 0 is 0, right? 5 times 0 is 0 minus 75. The lowest part of my domain would be negative, or sorry, from my range would be -75. This is because of the initial cost to get the roses. And that is $75. So if they sell 0 roses. Uh-oh, what just happened, guys? I don't know what just happened. Hold on. Let me go back. There we go. If we sold 0 roses, this Boosters Club, they lose $75 because they paid that initial amount in, and so they're still going to have to come up with that $75 even if they sell no roses. What is the maximum value of the domain? Well, it said there exactly how many flowers they bought. They bought 150 roses. They only ordered 150 roses to sell. Okay? No more, no less. Once they run out, I'm sorry, the fundraiser's over. Um, what is the maximum value? I'm going to go ahead and plug that into my equation. 5 times 150 minus the 75. I would make $675. So my profit would be 675. And once again, I got this from the 150 flowers that I bought. I did 5 times 150 and subtracted the 75, and this is where I got the 675 from. Is the situation continuous or discrete? So I have to think about what my x value is. I have to think about what my x value is, not my y. Let me go ahead and color that in. It should have been a different color. So I'm going to go over here and I'm looking at my roses. Can I sell half of a rose? Can I sell a third of a rose? A fourth of a rose? Who's going to buy that? No, that's not. It would be discrete. It would be discrete because you cannot sell or buy parts of a rose. We're not doing that. We're not selling the rose petals, okay? I know what you're thinking. We're not doing that. We're not selling the rose petal. We're selling the whole row, the whole stem rose. That's the situation. All right, our final situation is in example 3 says the total cost of a school board for a school board to purchase student laptops for a classroom going one-to-one with technology can be found using this function. Let me go ahead and highlight it. Where N is the number of laptops purchased. A teacher expects at least 18 and at most 25 students to be enrolled in his class. Make a table representing the situation. So let's go ahead and make our table. Now, when we make our table, remember we're going to put N here, the number of laptops, and here we're going to go ahead and put the cost that the laptops would be. This teacher expects 18 students, so I know I'm going to do 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and the biggest amount that the teacher expects in his class is 25 students. Now to find how much they would be, I'm going to replace this number right here with the N value from the table. So 259 times 18 plus 19 would give me my first answer. 259 times 19 plus 19 would give me my next answer, and so on. So I just went ahead and I plugged these in for you. Let me go ahead and finish filling out my table. There we go. Okay. Is the situation continuous or discrete? Now remember, you're looking at your x values. If your x value is repeating, it's probably an indication. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You're looking at your X value because that's what you are focusing on. That's your product, like the flowers, like the hours that Fatima worked. So in this case, we're looking at N, the number of laptops. Can you purchase part of a laptop or can you purchase only a full laptop? Well, this is a discrete situation because once again, the school or you yourself, it doesn't matter, can only purchase whole laptops. There we go. It does not make any sense at all for you to buy 18.25 laptops. Are you going to cut it into fourths and sell me only that fourth? And how would I use it? That doesn't make sense, right? No, we're not selling keyboards separately. We can't just sell replacement parts. No, no, no. I want a full laptop for this child to use in my class, for this student to use in my class. Okay? What is the domain? Well, my domain, of course, would be my X values, or in this case, my N values. It would be the 18, the 19, the 20, all the way up to 21. There we go. And what would be my range in this situation? That would be my cost or my C of N, which would be all my 4,681, 4,940, and all the way to the end. All right. If you'd like, go ahead and think about a situation in the try this. We did do this in class and we talked about it with our groups. So hope you understand more about domain and range.